All right, what's next?
Ever since Daredevil first aired on Netflix, many fans have wondered if we'll see him, along with the other Marvel heroes on Netflix, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when the Infinity War films come to screen. Some say yes, others say no. Now, one of the Infinity War directors, Anthony Russo, makes it sound like we shouldn't hold our breath. He said the following: "It's complicated. When we start to serialize the telling of stories, it's difficult. You have to have a lot of control and focus on the course of history. The films are controlled by a group led by Kevin Feige, so they function as a unit. Other products, even if they're from Marvel, are controlled by others. Then there's the possibility of a crossover, but it's more complicated. It is a smaller scale version of the problem that exists when remembering that Fox holds the rights to some of Marvel's most popular characters, as does Sony and others." John, buy or sell Russo's comments?
Well, first of all, I buy the comments in the chat board, people saying Jane shot first. I like that. That's great. This goes completely, I buy his comments. I buy his comments completely because I've been saying forever, like, when Daredevil first came out, everybody, all the fans on, not everybody, but a lot of people online were jumping down, Daredevil's going to be in Avengers now. And I'm like, no, I don't think he will. You're not going to see Daredevil in the Avengers. I don't think it's going to happen because they do have such... And whenever I would bring this up, there are separate governing bodies looking over the movie universe and the television universe. And that rift got even bigger after Kevin Feige got himself away from Perlmutter. Perlmutter now runs television. Kevin Feige does movies under the direct supervision of Disney. And they're just run by totally different people. And I've been saying for a long time, when you get into the Netflix shows, like whether it's Jessica Jones or Daredevil, they are so vague on their references. Like, there's a reason that you never hear Jessica Jones say Hulk. If this was... Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would have said Hulk. In Jessica Jones, they don't say Hulk. They say the big green guy. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would have said Captain America. In Jessica Jones, they don't say. They say the guy who waves the flag. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or even in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would have said when the Chitauri invaded New York and destroyed New York and the Avengers stopped them. All they say on the Netflix shows is the incident. Like, so even verbally, they create this separation. Yes, they acknowledge that they're in the same universe, but there's a separation. Russo coming out and saying this just kind of verifies all of that. But there is another point that we don't have in the long quote here. Russo also brought up the point about Spider-Man. And the fact that he even compares this situation between the movie and the television universe to the separation between Fox's Marvel characters and Marvel, that's a pretty stark distinction. But he went on to say that, hey, but you never know. He goes, Spider-Man was a Sony, and we were able to work out a deal with Sony, so nothing's impossible. And I think that's the situation we're in right now when it comes to characters like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, the Defenders as a whole, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very unlikely, but don't count it as impossible. It's not impossible. I still don't think it's going to happen. I think they're having great success with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, that whole Netflix world. I think they're going to leave them be and let them do their thing and be their own thing. And I don't think you're going to see them in the movies, and I think these comments kind of go towards it. Anyway, Schnepp, you read these comments. What do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I think the Russos are very smart in like their approach to everything, and I think Marvel in general is very smart about it. I think it would ruin it if you brought in these characters who are basically operating in a small area of New York, Hell's Kitchen, and some other parts of it, Harlem. It's a scale. Like Avengers are dealing with creatures from another dimension, from outer space. Like it is open up this cosmic galaxy, the Guardians of the Galaxy, aliens, and all this other stuff. And I think the Netflix series is really dealing with criminals, like the Kingpin, a human being, the difference is so giant. Like, it would be weird. Even that picture of Daredevil hanging out with Thanos just looks stupid to me. It looks incredibly dumb. Now you could argue, well, Hawkeye's just a human being. So is Black Widow. We don't know how they're going to integrate with Thanos and all this other stuff. And they're part of the Avengers. They're part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And those kinds of things worked in Avengers. I just say keep them separated. I like the way that, if they have to have any crossover, you can always bring someone like Hawkeye or Black Widow into Daredevil. And that would make sense, like human interaction. I just don't see everyone doesn't have to all be in the same fight, like everyone charge and have 100 people running towards something. I don't know. I like the separation. It's cool that they reference it once in a while. That it's all part of the same universe. I think keeping them separated makes all of those different separate universes stronger. So
Yeah, I buy the comments also, and I think that what it is that it was a nice way to say politics, man. It's politics, and that's what it was. There's politics behind it, and it doesn't mean though that you won't ever see it. But I agree with you, Schnepp, as where when you watch like Daredevil or Jessica Jones, it's based in this realism, almost what they did in the Nolan universe, and that's what they've done in the Marvel universe on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think that when you start to move it over into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because you have a rated R universe jumping into a PG-13 universe. And that's not to say that can't happen, that characters can happen, or that maybe we'll see Punisher or Daredevil in their own movie eventually, depending on how popular. Will that happen? Probably not, but it's more of a possibility, I think, of them getting kind of a standalone movie and then doing the same thing you were talking about before, referencing the universe, because you might see it happen depending on the success of Deadpool. Once Deadpool hits, and once you see what a rated R movie, superhero movie can do, then there's more of a possibility for these Netflix shows to maybe get their own movies, because Daredevil's a very popular character right now. And the Punisher hasn't had a good movie yet out there. Okay ones, but nothing great. So I'd like to see them go to the big screen, but I don't know if they're going to transfer into that universe.
I think Punisher is going to be in Daredevil season 2. I think a lot of these characters lend themselves to longer form stories. Yeah. The Punisher is a great example of someone who's going to I personally think, will lend itself great to a longer, like 10, 13 episode story arc with Daredevil. So I don't want to see them on the big screen. I'm perfectly happy to see these like super long story arcs on Netflix.
Because it's like one big movie anyway.
Yeah. So.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.